Things have taken a sickening turn as we have a new update on Cowboys' second-round pick, Donovan Ezaraku, who is still not officially signed with the team, even with training camp just 5 days away. Is a holdout coming? We'll tell you the latest right here on Cowboys Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. We appreciate you tuning into the show. As always, if you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and we're covering the Dallas Cowboys 365 days a year. Let's get you up to speed on what is going on with Cowboys' second-round pick, Donovan Ezaraku, out of Boston College, an edge rusher who is widely considered a steal for the Dallas Cowboys in the second-round slot. However, he remains unsigned with the team. Why is that so? Well, it's actually not just a Cowboys or Donovan Ezaraku problem. It's an NFL problem. Now, I'm not going to give credit to Dov Kleiman here because this account is crazy, but I do like the way he phrased this and kind of just getting the information to you. The Texans have just broken the NFL, and here's why. They gave Jaden Higgins, who is their second-round pick, the first fully guaranteed contract for a second-round pick ever. Now, almost every single second-round pick, 30 of the 32, are still unsigned and actively refusing to sign with the team until they get a fully guaranteed contract like Jaden Higgins. Now, why did the Texans do this, and why are contracts never going to be the same? Because the second round pick has never been fully guaranteed money. It's always been around the 55% guaranteed to the 95% guaranteed. 95 is like for the tip-top shape of the second round picks. Why is that so? It's because second rounds are a little bit more riskier than first rounds, and sometimes you don't want to guarantee money to those type of players. However, in recent, second round picks have been actively requesting for more guaranteed money. Well, Jaden Higgins and the Texans worked out a deal where it's fully guaranteed. And so now every second round pick is saying, hey, that guy over there who was drafted behind me or drafted close to me, he got fully guaranteed money. Where's mine? Where is my money? Because I want my fully guaranteed, which makes sense. I mean, you're a second round pick. Yes, you have a lot of skill, and most second round picks play through the entirety of their rookie contracts. But that doesn't mean it's 100%. And so that's where we go into today's report. Is a holdout coming for Donovan Ezaraku, or is this just a kind of no problem type thing where he'll sign eventually, the Cowboys will break down, or whatever will happen? That's what we're going to talk about on today's show and kind of break down what exactly is the steps moving forward for pretty much everybody. So let's start first with why exactly this is an entire NFL problem as I bring back up the Jaden Higgins contract. Obviously, this has kind of disrupted everything in the NFL contract agreement for the first time in a long time. In fact, Ian Rappaport is starting to report on it. Obviously, this was a couple days ago, but a Chargers second round pick, he had a deadline for him to report, and he did not report. He is now officially on holdout. So there is guys in the NFL who are second-round picks who did not get the fully guaranteed contract that they have been asking for, and now they are deciding, I'm not going to go to training camp. I'm not going to be there and report. And now there's holdouts. Is that going to be a thing for the Cowboys and Donovan Ezaraku, though? That's the question that is still yet to kind of be known. Now, that's kind of where we have to go into the report here and basically break this down from the top to the bottom. We start here with Reed Hansen of Cowboys Wire saying, quote, after two teams had the utter audacity to fully guarantee the contracts of their second-round draft picks, the remaining 30 unsigned players reportedly feel entitled for the same. It's kept players like second-rounder Donovan Ezaraku from signing his rookie contract with the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, I understand from Ezaraku's standpoint why you want the fully guaranteed money, especially when you're seeing it to other guys in your round. And quite frankly, I blame the Texans. No guy in the history of the second round has ever gotten fully guaranteed money. They did not have to do that. Jaden Higgins could have easily been saying, oh, I'm not going to sign to do that. Okay, you're going to be the one guy who's not signed. Instead, we have 30 guys who are not signed. So, the Texans, this is your fault. Let's continue on in the report and just kind of break this down. Here is something interesting again from Hansen. It says, quote, per Jacob Robinson of The Athletic, 2024 second-round pick guarantees ranged again from 51% to 95%, with the guarantees at the highest at the top of the round. Since contracts aren't completely slotted, rather negotiated, each player-team negotiation is different. And that's exactly why we have the problem as we stand, because everything is different. There is different money. There is different guarantees. There is different ways that organizations want to go about this. And the Dallas Cowboys, who granted do have about $30 million left in cap space, aren't going to want to spend a ton of money on their second round pick. Now, we're talking about fractions of the cap space. Like, it's not going to be that big a deal. The problem is when you're trying to sign Micah Parsons to this ginormous contract, you have to understand kind of that Ezeiruaku is also an important part to this team, especially since you drafted him literally not a couple months ago. That is a huge part to this. So, again, why exactly did the Texans do this? It was a 51% to 95% guarantee. They could have really just given him a 95% guarantee and probably wouldn't have done much. Like, that probably would have been like, okay, we're fine there. So, what exactly is next? Well, that's where we go into a case-by-case study, and obviously we're going to go with the Cowboys here. Reed Hansen of Cowboys Wire again saying, quote, "In the case of the Cowboys and Ezeiruaku, it's a matter of an extra few $1 million, since most second-rounders are highly likely to serve out the entirety of their rookie deals. Guarantees don't typically matter much at all," end quote. Which is kind of why I see this being as a no problem. Yes, is he still unsigned? Is he closing in on training camp without the contract officially being pinned to paper? 100%. Is that concerning? Of course. Does it mean that he's not going to sign and that he's going to hold out? No. At what point do these second rounders, who their entire dream, their entire life has been to play in the NFL, say, you know what, couple $1 million, like, yes, the Cowboys should easily break down. Like, I don't think it's that big a deal, but a few $1 million when you're trying to sign Micah is a lot of money. And I just don't see how this is more of an agent thing than it is a player's thing. Like, oh, well, the client over there that I see that my coworker or whatever, the other attorney got, now as an agent, my guy wants that. Because guess what? That guy got it, and as an agent, you get the 10%. So you're trying to get as much money as you possibly can. 10% of $1 million, so it's a lot of money. So I kind of go with that. Now, it's just interesting, and obviously, the one concern with being fully guaranteed is if you do get a bust. And that's kind of where Reed Hansen talks about it a little bit and where the concern lies with some of these teams. Quote, "It's just in the case of a bust. Think Kelvin Joseph, that teams get stuck with a check and no supper. But these are exceptions and an understandable result of poor scouting and risky decision-making. That's where the blame lies, quite frankly," end quote. So as we see, there are reasons for the Cowboys to be a little hesitant because of certain busts. But Kelvin Joseph is a completely different player than what Donovan Ezaraku is. Donovan Ezaraku was widely regarded as a potential first-round guy. He is a second-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys. This guy should be on the roster. This guy should be a very good player for this Dallas Cowboys team. In fact, he had 16.5 sacks last year. That was most in Power 4 and was like a sack away from having the most in the entirety of NCAA Division I football. I understand it's a few $1 million. I understand you're trying to sign Micah Parsons, but get the deal done. Good. Like, these dang stories we're having to follow instead of, getting ready for training camp, excited about the season. It's a little frustrating at some point. So obviously the players want what they want, and for them, good for them. And that's exactly where Reed Hansen kind of goes, saying, quote, "While it's certainly a step in the player's direction, it's hardly anything worth losing sleep over, and it's definitely not worth a holdout situation in training camp," end quote. So, obviously, we believe that it's not worth a holdout situation for either side, for Ezeiruaku, for the Cowboys, and quite frankly, there are players who are holding out. The Chargers rookie Trey Harris, he's the first one to officially do it. As we get closer here, the Cowboys training camp starts on July 20th. There is a real possibility that he does hold out. I'm not saying that's out of the question. I would say it's unlikely, though. I just see that a deal somewhat gets done. I mean, he's participated in everything else, OTAs, minicamp, all that stuff, but maybe he reports without the contracts. I really don't know. It's a whole question right now, but quite frankly, obviously injuries can happen in training camp, and you're not signed, you get injured. Kind of could be on you in some way. So we kind of finish out this report here from Reed Hansen as we end up saying, quote, "But guarantees like this matter to players far more than they matter to teams like the Cowboys because there's very little financial fallout to these teams. Keep in mind, we're talking about a fraction of a percentage of the budget for players who are statistically likely to play out their entirety of their respective deals anyway, end quote. So you can kind of see where the concern comes from. As a player, you are far more likely to have a financial fallout than the Dallas Cowboys. Shocker, not really. In the case of Donovan Ezaraku, I honestly think he has more right than most second rounders because was he a, first round level guy? Yeah. Did he drop to the second round? 100%. Is he still like 12 picks into the second round? Yeah. So why exactly is it that big a deal for the Cowboys to go out there and be like, listen, we got you a steal, just fully guarantee the money. Like that's all you got to do is just fully guarantee it. Obviously, again, it's a fraction of it. It's a few $1 million what we're talking about. And you can put that money in a couple of different ways. Like you can make that into a way where the cap space works to sign Micah to whatever deal you might need to do. So quite frankly, I am ready to move past this story. I'm ready for the Cowboys to just kind of go on with this and stop. Maybe just get the contract signed. So that's what I'm waiting for. But for now, that's all we got. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about what exactly we could see here from the Dallas Cowboys in terms of, what's going to happen with Donovan Ezaraku. Do you think he'll sign? Do you think he'll hold out? Let me know down in the comment section, but we appreciate you. And for now, we'll see you next time here on Cowboys Digest. Peace out, everybody.